Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Faster IBMI Backups, How VTL and Deduplication Work Together. I'm your host, Ax Signer, Vice President of Electronic Storage Corporation, our company located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been in business for over 30 years. We're a software developer, so here in our Tulsa office, we have our own programming staff, also our own customer service and technical support staff. We are an IBM registered business partner and a Microsoft certified partner. So we're going to talk today about how with a VTL solution, the ability to, number one, utilize existing storage for your IBMI backups through a VTL solution for your IBMI saves. Also talk about how our solution can interface as a gateway to solutions that perform deduplication, replication, data immutability, products such as our technology partners Rubrik, Cohesity, Exagrid, as well as IBM's solution. And then in addition to that, also going over the fact that being able to back up to any SAN or NAS disk storage where you might be able to utilize existing storage for your IBMI backups. Now in this one diagram here, created by Rubrik, we're showing that a VTL solution is a gateway to the Rubrik storage, or it could be Cohesity, could be Exagrid, whatever. And so this is the VTL solution as a gateway with a with an Ethernet connection to the storage, so that we can point directly to that storage and write the data during the backup process. And then a typical installation would be, in addition to that saving on-prem data, also replicating that data to a second deduplication appliance at a DR site, Cloud Archive, and in this example, Rubrik Cloud Vault. Having the ability to make 2 copies of your backups, or in some cases even 3 copies of your backups for disaster recovery. So with this in place, with this configuration, the VTL is simply a gateway where whether it's a server or VM, no storage is required on the VTL server itself because it's using network attached storage. And that would be typically through a high-speed internet Ethernet connection, such as 10 gig, 25 gig, or it could be a fiber channel connection to a NAS or SAN, so that we can write the data directly to that storage. So I'm actually going to go through a demonstration of how to configure VTLs to point to external storage. So I'm going to go into the VTL web interface with my username and password so that I can have a secure access. I'm going to go straight to libraries. So this is where you actually configure your virtual tape libraries. And we're going to go through some of the parameters on this configuration so that you can define everything that's going to perform your backups. So let's edit library 1, which has already been added. The name of the library is simply whatever you want to call that. That corresponds to the inventory list of that tape library over here on the left, and I'll show you that in a minute. So this is the key component of where you're going to write your backups and store your backups. In some cases, we have clients that have a server with the VTL software, connectivity to the IBMI, either fiber channel or SAS, like an external tape device. And they're using internal storage on that server for their backups, hence the E drive on that server would be their storage. Instead, this could point to your external storage for your library path. So that'd be SMB share, NFS, iSCSI mount, whatever connectivity and file system that you'd want to use, or protocol that you'd want to use to write that data and read that data from that storage. So this gives you the flexibility of really using any external disk, SAN, NAS storage for your IBMI backups, and that may even be leveraging existing storage, thus lowering your initial investment into storing your IBMI backups to a disk solution instead of physical tape. Now I do want to note on the library path that our next release that comes out in March allows you to define multiple library paths. So in the case where you would like to store data at different locations or different paths, even though you have multiple library paths per virtual tape library, you will still see all the virtual tapes in that tape library as inventory of tapes that can be used for backup. So that adds a lot more flexibility in a solution to be able to use multiple storage paths per tape library. And there will be no limit to the number of paths that you can have. So that's going over using the VTL as a gateway so that we're going to read and write data directly from that path, whether it's a rubric storage, Cohesity, Exagrid, just to name a few, even Pure Storage, IBM storage, whatever the case might be. Now, for a tape drive emulation selection here, typically you would use a LTO-8. Do want to note out that any of these LTO versions do not have a storage limit. So if your backup is, say, 10 terabytes, that will fit all on one virtual tape, whether it's LTO-8 or LTO-2, doesn't matter. The number of storage slots, and this is pretty important because you can go as high as 16,000 storage slots for your virtual tapes. So this basically means unlimited number of tapes you can have available to perform a restore at any time. So I've set mine to 60 storage slots. What's also great is you can go back anytime and increase that number if you need to create additional virtual tapes. You can also set a default tape capacity. We have many clients that do that for certain tapes in which they're saving journal entries throughout the day, and they want that tape to eventually fill up so that another tape is rotated in for those backups. Data block file count. So one of the number one benefits and goals we're to achieve is the backup speed compared to, say, physical tape. And this is one of the ways in which you can multi-thread the write process during the backup to increase backup speed to 850 megasecond. I've seen backups go as fast as 2 gig a second in the backup write speed. So the data block file count allows you to set the number of files that the VTL is writing data to during a backup. And those files are associated with the particular tape volume that's being used for the backup, whether it's being used within BRMS, Robot Save, or Go Save commands. So you can set that, and then we're going to write data to those files at the same time during the backup. Spreads out the workload processing, uses the multi-core processors within the server that the VTL software is being run. So just to give you additional backup speed. Also included are some write cache settings and read cache settings. These are also going to apply to your backup speed for write cache and your restore speed for the read cache settings. So you go through here, and when we do installation, training, configuration, typically done remotely with our technical support installation staff here in Tulsa, we go through these settings and train you how to use these settings, help you test which settings perform the fastest backup speeds to go to disk so that you'll be all set to run your backups when you're ready. Now our software comes with standard compression. So let's say that that compression averages about 4:1 in your backups. Now let's say you're using a deduplication appliance for your backups and the VTL as a gateway to that storage. You turn that off. The deduplication appliance can perform compression, deduplication, data immutability, also encryption. So this would be if you were just say, I wanted to use standard compression to local disk on the server in which the VTL software is running. We have deduplication within our product. This is an additional license fee to the VTL software license. And deduplication, performing a block level deduplication of the data, whether it can be chosen to set this up to run inline during the backup or post process deduplication. That bumps your compression up, of course, to say 10 to 1, 12 to 1, and even higher. So on some of your LPARs, you could be getting 40 to 1. On some of the LPARs, 12 to 1, which might be a production LPAR, which has a higher data change rate to that data. But it does greatly increase your compression of data during the when you're storing your backups. And also, whether you're using any other deduplication appliance or our BDup license within the VTL, you're also reducing the amount of data you're replicating to your DR site, to cloud storage, whatever the case might be. And there's some settings that we go through with you during training and installation, also to optimize the backup or the deduplication compression ratio, speed of the backup during the deduplication if running inline, things like that, to allow you to optimize the deduplication process as much as possible. Encryption, check that box for your encryption key. Again, storing to local disk using the VTL solution to access that local disk. I would turn this off for any deduplication appliance or SAN or NAS that's actually performing encryption on the backups. There's a replication and retention feature within our solution. I've got some examples replicating to DR site in terms of replicating to a network path, replicating to Amazon S3, Microsoft Azure, Wasabi. So those parameters for your cloud accounts are built into the replication configuration screen, as you can see under Cloud Storage Properties here. So Cloud Storage Properties got our account set up for, in this case, Amazon S3 storage. This was going to be the settings that you would use to define your replication of your volumes. You can do this replication job once you configure it based on the asterisk saying this replication applies to all volumes, or you can use your prefix, say D for daily, M for monthly, just to give you an example, that you only want to apply this to certain volumes based on their 1, 2, or 3 character prefix. Again, you get 6 characters for your volume ID. Email notifications for your replication will send an email automatically when the replication job begins, once the replication job ends, as well as an inventory of what was replicated within that email. And you can say replicate most recent volumes, or you can say replicate all volumes. Any volumes that have just been written to or modified or added to would be replicated. Down below, there's local and remote retention that can be defined based on the age of the volume or volumes, or based on number of volumes, which would be the most recent. So in this case, you would use the local remote retention features within these settings. Say if you were using go save commands or go backup, whereas opposed to the case you're using BRMS, your media policies are going to take care of your retention when you run BRMS maintenance, thus initializing any tapes that have become expired and removing the data from those tapes so that they can be reused. And then remote retention actually can be set different than local retention if you'd like, for your replicated volumes. Also want to talk about the connectivity between the IBM I and the VTL solution, with either being fiber channel connectivity, direct connect fiber channel, or via switch fiber channel. Another option for connectivity is SAS. So depending on which HBA is available in your current IBM I power system would be what can be used on the VTL side to make that communication and connection. Therefore, we're going to emulate exactly what a physical tape library, physical tape device does on the IBM I side, including full system restricted state saves, as well as D-mode IPL from a full system restricted state save. Also, within configuring your virtual tape libraries and devices, our solution does support NPIV, giving you for each fiber channel port within the VTL server, you can define up to 64 virtual tape devices, which can be shared amongst, virtual tape library with multiple tape devices can be shared amongst multiple partitions. You can have multiple tape libraries with however many tape devices that you need for each of those tape libraries. Again, 64 virtual devices per physical fiber channel connection. Typical connection speed that we're configuring with most systems is 16 gig, but you can go 32 gig, 64 gig fiber channel connectivity within the VTL server. So what I have defined here is actually a single entry with the serial number being presented as the serial number for this device presented to the IBMI. A worldwide port name, control path, yes. This is going to represent over on the IBMI side a tape library, TAP MLB V1, and a tape device, TAP V1. So with NPI capability, you could go and simply add using an additional port that's within the fiber channel HBA. You could either define that as a control path, which means that's a tape library and a tape device. Not checking that box gives you basically another tape device that can be used within that virtual tape library. So that would add another entry below this, and then that worldwide port name is zoned within your switch. So there is some security. Want to go over for this particular defined virtual tape library. There's these security group access checkboxes here in which, as a group administrators, which I'm logged in as under that group, these are the features that I'm allowed to within this interface. Now, really, with this interface, you're going to be defining, setting up, configuring your virtual tape libraries, your replication, any additional settings. And then from that point on, everything's run from the IBMI side, your saves and your restores. So this interface is once defined and created and set up, really not hardly used much at all because you're doing everything through the IBMI, just like you would or doing currently with physical tape or any other VTL solution. Okay, so let's take a look at Library 1. These are the virtual tapes that have been added into the tape library. So it's very simple to go in and take a look at your inventory of virtual tapes. Any tape devices defined, drive 1, there's currently one drive defined. There could be multiple drives, as we talked about with NPIV. Simple to create a tape or multiple tapes. Put in your prefix. People typically use 1, 2, or 3 characters. Create multiple tape images. Go ahead and initialize those. And so those automatically go into the tape library, but also report back to the inventory that you see within the IBMI when you take a look at the volumes for this tape library as being star inserted new tapes. Say, for example, you're then using BRMS, you simply go in and add that media into BRMS with a media class that you can use within BRMS to perform backups. So it's really simple to use this create media to go ahead and create your volumes. Those are automatically added as inventory on the IBMI side, and then you can simply go in and add that media into BRMS and you're ready to go. So again, we have these virtual tapes. When you're pointing to your SAN or NAS storage in your library path, that's where these virtual tapes actually reside, whether or not they have any data on them. Maybe they haven't been used or they've been initialized, but you'll see all of these volumes on that path. Now, some of the features you have, if you ever needed to move a tape into the drive manually, say that was a full system save and I wanted to perform demode IPL of an LPAR, of the LPAR with this particular save, simply move that and go ahead and mount that drive here, or mount that virtual tape here in the drive so it's ready to go to perform the IPL function. You also have labels that you can click on, so if you do want to see the libraries, the sequence, and the size of the libraries, those are listed here under labels. Protect and unprotect. Protecting the volume means that it cannot be initialized, overwritten, or deleted even from this interface until it is unprotected. There's an export function. That's this path here, which actually points to Azure Cloud Storage. So if I were to export this tape, it moves it from the library path to this export path. So that's a move, not a replication. If you go to import, you will see any virtual tapes that you've exported, and you can bring those back anytime. So if I want to bring this tape back, check the box, import it, brings it back into inventory, into the tape library. You might use that for something like long-term storage tapes. You want to store them in cloud storage, something that you need to store for 7 years. You might go ahead and export those, and you can bring them back anytime to perform a restore. But what's great about the virtual tape library solution is you can have all of your tapes online right here in inventory. Anytime you needed to restore something, it's immediately available. Execute the restore, tape gets loaded, the restore begins on anything that you might need. So we talked about that. Let's talk about one more screen I want to show you real quick. Is just a quick look at this is basically an audit trail of your replication jobs that are performed within the VTL software, such as this LaserVault Vital solution. Now, if what you're saving to, deduplication appliance, backup appliance, performs replication and all the other functionality, then that would be occurring within that system. So whatever processes that the storage is doing, such as snapshots, immutability, that's all going to be benefiting from your IBM I backups to use those particular solutions if you wish. Okay. So we talked about this. We do have a quick look at also protecting your IBM I with IBM Defender Data Protect, as LaserVault Vital being the gateway to that particular storage backup solution. So as you can see, the options are huge in terms of utilizing other external storage for your IBM I backups, where you're not having to invest in a proprietary appliance that is for your IBM I backups, but you're able to use that other storage for leveraging your backups. So again, we talked about speed, backup speed earlier. Customers that we've installed that save to, such as Cohesity, Rubrik, Exagrid, they're seeing backup speeds of around 2 gig a second, where we're showing here. One of the tests that we've run recently was 850 megasecond backup speed to local disk within a server in which hosted the VTL solution using 16 gig fiber channel connectivity. So our particular VTL solution offering BDup is our licensing brand for our deduplication software for performing deduplication, again, reducing the footprint of your backup by 10 times, 20 times, or even higher, and reducing the replication time since you are only replicating new and changed blocks of data. And that's basically block level deduplication, where we can index each block and determine whether or not there's new or changed data, store an index for that block, store that block if needed, and then rehydrate that data during a restore process. Okay, just some items here that you can take a look at in terms of recapping virtual tape benefits, features, capabilities. as well as adding in deduplication capabilities using existing deduplication, or you might be shopping currently for a new backup solution with deduplication, data immutability, and replication, where you can just simply plug in the VTL solution, connect to the storage, and you're ready to run your backups. Okay, so in the go to meeting panel, you've got there's some documents in there you can download, sizing questionnaire, which we can use to get a preliminary configuration for you, as well as some pricing information in terms of what connectivity that you're needing, fiber channel or SAS, whether you're needing storage, and just go over everything from the sizing questionnaire to give us an idea of what to put together for you. Some great customer testimonials, of course, are available. There's a data sheet to get a little more information on IBMI and our LaserVault Vital solution, and then there's comparison virtual tape to physical tape if you're currently using physical tape. Okay, so I want to thank everybody. I want to go ahead and open it up for any questions that you might have. There, in the GoToMeeting panel, there's a section in there to type in any questions that you might have regarding what I've discussed with you all. You can contact us, info@laservault.com. There's our 800 number. So if you'd like to set up a call with us to go over some configuration options, some pricing, to go over what your current backup environment is on IBMI in terms of the amount of data, partitions, what you'd like to use for storage of those backups, we'd love to talk with you and go over with you more detail, and also more technical detail on how to match our VTL solution with your backup environment on the IBMI side. And then here at the end of the presentation, we're going to have a drawing for a SanDisk 1 terabyte portable SSD. So we'll let you know if you're the winner, the lucky winner of that grand prize 1 terabyte disk storage. Okay. All right, so it doesn't look like I've got any questions at this time. So, oh, got a question. Well, I thought I did, but I don't seem to see it on here. I had a hand go up. Okay. All right. Well, so we'll go ahead and stop here. And thanks everyone very much for your time. Please let us know if we can help you in any way with your IBMI backups. And do appreciate everybody's time, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.